Every year, hundreds of thousands of people pour their time and money into IT certifications. CCNA, Security Plus, Network Plus, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. And every single year, most of those people end up exactly in the same position. Make it make sense. Qualified on paper, invisible in the job market, wondering where it went wrong. The certification industry isn't going to tell you why, because they are making way too much money selling you the next exam. Which is why in this video, I'm going to reveal why you shouldn't get IT certifications and what's actually going to get you hired instead. Hi, I'm Suleiman. I've been in tech for more than a decade. Starting in 2015, I was earning just $18,000 a year, and I worked my way up to earning multiple six figures in tech. Now I'm running my own businesses across cloud and AI consulting, software, and my academy, where I've helped more than 900 people master cloud engineering and land six-figure cloud jobs, including at companies like AWS. I've sat on both sides of the hiring table, and I've been the one trying to get in, and I've been the one deciding who gets hired. And what I'm about to tell you is what I wish someone had told me before I wasted hundreds of hours and a lot of time and money on IT certifications. So let me take you back to when I passed a professional level AWS exam. I just spent months studying, flashcards, mock exams, watching the same explanations over and over again until I could recite the answers in my sleep. And when I got the news that I passed the exam, it felt incredible. Like I just unlocked a new paradigm, like a new door was about to open for me and allow me to level up in my career. So as everyone does, I updated my LinkedIn, added the new certification, I got plenty of congratulations, and naturally I did what everyone else would do in my position. I started applying for jobs. This was back in 2020 when I just quit my job as a software engineer at a Fortune 500 company. And I was looking to level up my career because I felt stagnant for a few years. And I noticed that with the direction that software engineering was headed to, especially with AI, that I had to pivot and acquire a new skill set. So I applied for hundreds of jobs that week. And guess what happened? Nothing. No callbacks, just rejections. And I remember reading these rejections at the time. It was a little bit hard to stomach because I just spent months basically grinding, learning, memorizing for nothing. But looking back at it now, I was very naive, and let me explain why. Here is what I didn't understand at the time. I knew a little bit about AWS and the services. I could pass multiple choice exams, no problemo, right? But I didn't know how to build anything with it. And those are two completely different things. And once you understand why, you will never be able to unsee it. The certification industry has built something incredibly clever. It's created a psychological loop that keeps you consuming and never quite arriving. And let me show you how it works. You decide that you want to get into tech. You Google how to get a tech job or how to become a cloud engineer. What comes up? Certification paths. So you start studying, you buy the course, you watch the YouTube videos, you tell people that you're working towards your CCNA or your Security Plus or your AWS Solutions Architect, and then weeks turn into months and you're still studying, still preparing, still not quite ready to book the exam. And then even if you do pass, you apply for jobs, you get told that you don't have enough experience. And you think, maybe I need another certification. And the loop just continues. I've seen this trap claim the majority of people trying to break into technical roles, whether they're coming from a completely non-IT background or they're an existing IT professional. And it's not because they are not capable, but it's the industry that has convinced them that a certification is the gateway to leveling up in your career in tech, including all the influencers on this platform as well, right? You can't just get a couple of IT certifications and land a six-figure tech role. That's a pipe dream, and you have to realize that. Do you really think that you could spend $100 on a Security Plus certification, click a few buttons on your multiple choice exam, and someone's gonna come to you and say, hey, congratulations on passing your multiple choice exam. Well done for telling me what security is, right? Well done for that. Here is your six-figure tech job. Do you really think that in 2026, all you have to do is get a certification, a CompTIA certification, a very basic certification, and someone's going to give you six figures a year? Wake up. Seriously, wake up. Look yourself in the mirror, give yourself a slap and wake up, because that's not going to happen. Maybe back in 2020, right? But in 2026, you need so much more than just a piece of paper. Now, to be fair, I'm not dismissing them entirely. They can give you some structured learning, but let's be real. You're not doing this for fun, right? Nobody's actually spending real time in the evening and after work or on the weekends or early mornings learning this stuff if you're not trying to actually level up in your career or make more money. So the intention is there, but the approach is entirely wrong. And in 2026, the gap between what certifications teach and what employers actually need has never been wider. Let me explain exactly why. Certifications teach you how things work in an ideal world, right? They don't teach you how to think when things go wrong in the real one. So Every question on a certification exam has a correct answer. As a real engineer, there's basically never a right answer. Not really. Instead, there are things that we call trade-offs, like pros and cons to making a specific architecture decision. There are constraints, right? The budget that your manager gave you, the legacy system that you have to integrate with, the security requirements that conflicts with the performance one, the deadlines, things like your company culture and the working environment, the mindset your colleagues have. Real engineering is about reasoning through problems. And in an interview, the difference is immediately obvious. When I'm interviewing someone, I can tell from the first sentence that comes out their mouth if they're ready to get this job or not, right? It's that quick that I decide if this person is ready. And someone that's a real engineer with real experience, with real hands-on expertise, who's been there and done it, can just tell if the person that you're interviewing can actually do the work, right? You can just tell a fraud from a mile away. And now the other thing that certs don't teach you, and this comes up every single time that I'm interviewing someone, is how systems connect together. And we call this systems thinking. Now, I've spoken to candidates with multiple AWS certifications who basically know everything about EC2 and S3 in isolation, but they couldn't walk through how a request actually moves for a real architecture. They learned every single instrument individually, but never played in a band. It's not about knowing what Lambda does, it's knowing when to use Lambda versus AWS EC2. When you choose one over the other, given a specific set of requirements that the project has, how to design the system around that decision. And here is why this matters even more in 2026. AI tools can now look up what any service does in literally seconds. The information is everywhere. What isn't everywhere is judgment. The ability to look at a real messy, constrained problem and know how to approach it. That only comes from building things, breaking things, and figuring out why they broke. No certification exam will give you that. Only real experience will do that. And to be honest, I totally get it. You look at job descriptions and you see the real skills and it's a bit daunting and tricky. So you want to feel like you're doing something and making progress. So you see the certification being preferred or sometimes even a requirement. So you start there. But it's something that you just never end up finishing. And if you do, it doesn't actually move the needle to get you closer to getting hired. So then the question becomes, what should you be doing instead? Well, when I'm hiring for my software company or my consulting company, I skip the certification section entirely on the CV. I go straight to the experience, the projects, things that people have actually built. And every hiring manager that I've spoken to across the companies that I've worked with and across the companies that my students have landed roles at do exactly the same. What they're looking for is evidence of thinking. Can you look at a problem, break it down, make a decision about how to approach it, and then explain why you made that decision? Can you tell me what alternatives that you've considered and why you ruled them out? Can you walk me through what went wrong when you built something under time and cost constraints and how you overcome them? Those are the questions that come up in every serious technical interview. I had a student that came to me after 18 months of grinding through certifications. Foundational, practitioner, associate, professional level, very smart person, very capable, but completely stuck. They couldn't get past the first round of interviews. And I had a quick look at what they built, and other than some basic tutorial projects they found on YouTube, the answer was basically nothing. All of that theoretical knowledge on paper, but no real way of demonstrating it, communicating it. Within 3 months of shifting focus to real hands-on projects, actual briefs, real architectural decisions, building and documenting work from first principles, they started landing interviews at big tech companies, and eventually AWS, aka Amazon, hired them. That's exactly the shift that I help people make inside of my Cloud Engineer Academy. That's how Mac and John both landed roles at AWS. Silas made a full career switch into DevOps at the age of 42. Tomislav got hired as a platform engineer just this week. So if you want my help to land a 6-figure cloud role, there's a link in the description below, which takes you to a short video. And if you're very serious about landing a role, just fill in the application form and book a call with my team. Now, if you're open to the idea of building hands-on skills and leaving certifications behind, how do you actually find the project ideas, right? How do you make it applicable? A lot of people would try ChatGPT or YouTube tutorials that they find, but there is a hidden opportunity that pretty much nobody's speaking about. Go to freelancing platforms like Upwork. Look at what real companies are actually posting. Cloud projects, security projects, AI, DevOps, whatever career that you're looking to break into. There'll be a lot of problems that companies are having that they're looking to solve. So what you're going to do is hijack those opportunities and use them as your project brief. So here, what you're doing is you're taking a real problem a real company is trying to solve, and you just go build the solution yourself. This is what I used to do when I was trying to break in. When you do this, something shifts in how you think. You're no longer asking, what does this service do? You're asking, what does this company actually need? What's the right way to solve it? And what trade-offs am I making? That's engineering from first principles. And it's what makes you stand out in an interview, because here you are the only person in the room who can talk about their work in this way. Not just what you studied, but what you've built, what you've decided, and more importantly, what you've learned. The other piece, once you build something, is obviously visibility. Most people build a project and they don't tell anyone about it. Write up what you built on LinkedIn. Record a short Loom walkthrough. If it's not online, it doesn't exist. In 2026, recruiters are searching on LinkedIn constantly. If you're regularly showing your work, sharing your thinking, posting your architecture diagrams, you have recruiters inbounding you with opportunities. So where does that leave IT certifications? If you want to sit one, sit it after you've built the skills. Use it to complement a portfolio that already shows that you can do the work. In that context, it adds a small amount of credibility and it can help you with job filters, because obviously recruiters and hiring managers are looking for certifications as a tick box, right? But as a substitute for real projects and real thinking, it does basically nothing. The people getting hired right now in 2026, and I see this virtually every single week inside of my academy, and also the companies that we're working with, are the ones who can walk into an interview and say, here is a real problem that I solved. Here is the architecture that I designed. Here is why I made the decisions that I made. And here's what I would do differently if we had more budget or a new constraint. The certification industry will keep selling you the dream because it's a great business model. And there always will be people who pass their exams and feel like they've achieved something, right up until they hit the job market and realize the badge and the ability to do the job are two completely different things. The engineers who are winning in 2026 are the ones who figured out early that judgment can't be certified. It has to be built through real projects, real decisions, real consequences, and learning from when things go wrong. As always, I'm rooting for you. See you on the next one.